Wiener Prater is one of the most unique amusement parks in the entire world. Located in downtown Vienna, Austria, this park feels like a carnival on steroids. The park has an ever-evolving ride lineup, but they currently have 15 different roller coasters as of the 2022 season. And in total, the park has nearly 100 different rides and attractions. That's a ton. You'd probably run out of time to ride them all, and you'd certainly go broke trying. Find out why this may be the world's most expensive amusement park in this review. Wiener Prater is the name of a large public park in Vienna. This park originally opened way back in 1766. The most prominent section of this park is the Verstal Prater section, which is the amusement area. This park is set up way differently than other theme parks. This is a free admission park and there are no entrance booths, so people can come and go as they please, and there's seemingly an infinite number of ways to enter and exit the park. This park has no fencing nor boundaries. It runs right up alongside the public park and streets. It sort of feels like the city version of Knoebels in that regard. The rides also are not owned by the park. Rather, each attraction is owned by an individual business. Think of Wiener Prater as a permanent carnival. Some rides are here for the long haul. Some show up for just a year or two. Others have come and go multiple times. For example, the famous Olympia looping roller coaster is being assembled yet again for the 2022 season after previously running here for the 2016 and 2018 seasons. This approach allows the ride lineup to constantly evolve and stay fresh. On the downside, this park can be extremely expensive. Because each ride is owned by a separate entity, there's no wristband here. Every single attraction is pay per ride. This is great if you want to ride just a few things, but it's a nightmare if you're a coaster enthusiast like me who wants to experience a lot of the rides. Each attraction here costs roughly 4 to 6 euros. Also, make sure to bring physical cash. Most rides and stands only accepted cash. Almost nothing accepted credit cards. I found out after my visit about a preloaded Prater card you can purchase that sounds a lot more convenient. Plus, you can more easily budget how much you want to spend. Since I didn't know the next time I'd visit Wiener Prater, I saved up and spent nearly 200 euros here. That's more than it costs to go to Disneyland or Disney World with a Park Hopper ticket and Genie Plus on the busiest of days. I guess it is less expensive than some parks plus their skip the line passes, but it was still stupid expensive. On the bright side, lines are typically not an issue here. Wiener Prater's midways are busy, but the pricing structure keeps lines to a minimum. I visited on a summer Friday, and the longest line I saw was roughly 15 minutes. Most rides were total walk-ons. Rides are operated at their maximum capacities and are loaded at a breakneck pace. Since each ride is its own independent business, the operators have every incentive to maximize their throughputs and therefore profits. Related to that, Wiener Prater's hours are interesting. Typically, the amusement area is open from 10 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily. These are some of the longest hours of any park. Some rides open later, and some close sooner. And in that final hour, there are probably less than a dozen rides still operating. One ride of interest with shorter hours is the historic Wiener Riesenrad Ferris wheel. The closing time for that ride can range from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. depending on the night, but it closed at 10 the day I visited. I was worried the lack of a single cohesive vision and the turnover of rides would cause the park to suffer in the atmosphere department, but Wiener Prater felt lively. Most rides had vibrant lighting packages and/or fancy facades. Every ride was designed to look as good as possible and entice you to spend cash on it. It felt like a bustling European fun fair in that regard, and that's a good thing. It's a much different feel than your traditional amusement park, but the energy is electric. Then the park's tallest attractions offer stunning vantage points of the surrounding metropolis. I love when parks can feed on their surroundings like this. Now let's talk about the ride lineup. They may change year to year, but there's never a shortage of attractions. In terms of quantity, Wiener Prater may have the most rides of any amusement park. I'd estimate there to be over 100 different rides and attractions here. The coasters are more about quantity than quality. There are 15 for the 2022 season. Most of the coasters were more of the family-friendly variety, but there were a handful of kiddie coasters and some major thrill coasters. The lone standout for the upcoming season is the return of Olympia looping. I rode the Schwarzkopf at Oktoberfest back in 2017, and it features 5 very forceful vertical loops. I thought the rest of the ride's drops and helixes were pretty uneventful, but those inversions will satisfy anyone's cravings for positive Gs. The park will finally get a true standout attraction in 2023 with Wiener looping. This will be a mock Big Dipper coaster that will break the Austrian record for inversions. And most interestingly, the ride will feature backwards facing seats on that back row. The best coaster I experienced during my visit was Mega Blitz, which I touch on in a separate review. This is a compact Vekoma coaster with modest stats, but it pulls nearly 5 Gs in the helixes. That's a ton, especially for a ride of its scale. This ride is a positive G in grayout machine, and it's surprisingly smooth too for an older Vekoma. The other rides that stand out are the ones plussed by theming. Even though the layouts may be okay at best, the rides look great and have some memorable visuals. Take Hochschiebahn for instance. This is a small and slow scenic railway, but I love how the ride travels through a rocky mountain and passes several cute miniature displays. Geschenk des Sau was probably my second favorite roller coaster here. This is the largest Gerstlauer bobsled. This Wild Mouse on steroids features a diverse layout with some lateral heavy hairpin turns, a few sizable drops, and plenty of bank turns. The ride wasn't as satisfying as some of the other bobsleds out there, but the ride was still fun between its multi-layered layout and the quirky farm theming, including that dark ride bit at the start. You also have a trio of spinning coasters. Insider is the definition of sensory overload. This Mauer spinning coaster is an off-the-shelf layout, but the booming music and gratuitous use of lasers blew me away. This indoor coaster was extremely disorienting, especially because I was sent alone so my vehicle spun like a top. There are some hard breaks because you cannot see them coming, but this ride was really cool. Oh, and it also had a mirror maze in the queue line. Masquerade is a super compact Gerstlauer spinner with a bizarre theme and a rare elevator lift. Most of the layout is indoors with the exception of the first drop, and that coaster section is really short, but you do have a forceful helix, and this was another one where I spun pretty wildly throughout because I was again sent alone. Dizzy Mouse is your standard Reverchon spinning coaster. This one spun well, and there was a cool tunnel into a cat's mouth at the end. You then have 5 adult clones that don't get the most glowing reviews. Wild Mouse is your basic Wild Mouse. It has minimal braking, so there's some good laterals in the first half and a few weak pops of airtime in the second half. Rollerball is a rare RES 4D coaster. The ride looks like it will be an intense experience, but this is arguably the most overbraked roller coaster in the world. You slowly rock back and forth as you slowly descend the tower. I have a separate review in this ride explaining how it's fine for families if the appearance doesn't scare them away. But many kids are too afraid to ride this because they think it'll invert them, and I don't blame them based off its appearance. You also have a Vekoma Boomerang. This one is a fun tunnel after the Cobra Roll, and this one also operates with just lap bars, so there's no head banging as you go through the forceful inversions. But you do need to be careful because these restraints are made entirely of metal, and there's zero padding, so they hurt if your legs smack into them. Super Octobahn is a rough Pinfari creation. Some of the pullouts have decent Gs, but this ride will shake you up. Thankfully, it doesn't have over-the-shoulder restraints, otherwise this ride could be brutal. Last but not least, you have the most maligned coaster in Volare. I find these Imperla flying coasters moderately enjoyable, but I will admit this one was shakier than the others I've ridden, so if you don't like these rides to begin with, you're going to hate this one. I still enjoyed the hang time on the barrel rolls, but the turns definitely rattled you good in this one. Then you have 3 kiddie coasters. 2 of them can be experienced by adults. Zug des Manitou is the most interesting one. This indoor western themed coaster starts by going backwards before traveling through a fairly slow but scenic layout. The visuals for a coaster of this scale really surprised me. Race is an SBF Visa kiddie coaster consisting of just a downward spiral. This was arguably the most forgettable coaster in the park, but it's fine for kids. Autobergbahn is the oldest operating coaster there, and this is the one exclusive for kids. It looked like a cute little wood coaster. While on the topic, Wiener Prater had a large kiddie section filled with the usual roundabouts, plus some unique junior rides like a little go-kart track. This section was probably the least busy in the park, but that was good for families that just wanted a more relaxing experience. Now the adult flat rides in this park are where you really shine. Wiener Prater may be the best park in the world for flat rides. This lineup had a lot of unique attractions. Not only that, but these flats were run at their highest speeds with super long cycles. I definitely got my money's worth on each of these rides. The stars were the pendulum rides. The best of the bunch, and probably my favorite new flat ride, is Black Mamba. This Funtime Chaos Pendle is downright insane. It's basically a booster arm attached to a secondary arm. The gondola still rotates throughout the experience, but instead of traveling in the same circular path, Black Mamba has an elliptical flight pattern that varies with each rotation. When the two arms sync up, you get very sustained and forceful airtime as you hurtle through the air, and you sometimes invert during that too. The other rotations offered lesser airtime and/or hang time instead. This ride blew me away, and I have its own review for it. There are two boosters here as well. King Booster is the newer and taller of the two, standing nearly 200 feet or 60 meters tall. You also have extra axes of rotation because the seats can both flip and spin. The rotation on the seats was more gradual than expected, but the rotations delivered hints of airtime and hang time paired with stunning visuals of the city. The older booster was actually way more intense. It was run faster than similar rides, so it offered forceful and sustained positive Gs for the entire experience. And because of how long the ride lasted, I thought I was going to rip my legs off. And those forces were paired with a flip on each rotation. Tornado is a one-of-a-kind swing ride from Funtime. You rock back and forth getting good positive Gs and visuals, but the gondola can also flip throughout the experience. The rotations are controlled, but they're slow and well timed to maximize hang time and visuals. Speedwave is one of the best run Mondial top scans out there. This one is super fast, so it delivers insane and sustained laterals throughout. And then the gondola wildly rocks and flips throughout the experience. My body was thrown in so many different directions. I loved it. Sometimes the flips were rapid and forceful. Other times they were slow, giving terrifying hang time. I just love how varied the ride experience is on these attractions. One other one to highlight is Discovery. This Zamperla looping frisbee is taller than similar rides out there, so it offers stronger positive Gs, and then you also get airtime building up to the inversions, and then hang time in the inversions themselves. Then while not a pendulum ride, I also need to highlight Ecstasy. This crazy contraption is one of the most intense and disorienting rides in the world. Enclosed with booming music and flashing lights, the arms rotate you very quickly, producing strong positive Gs and sustained laterals. But that's not all. The arms also go upside down while spinning still. Getting laterals and Gs while suspended upside down is unreal. Also, this ride lasted forever, so it's a miracle no one came off puking. Moving on to the tower rides, these attractions were some of the best in the park for views, and they offered some thrills too. Freefall Tower Vienna was an incredible Funtime drop tower. This was a 300-foot or 90-meter tall gyro tower. Between the immense height and how long you're held up there, this ride offers breathtaking visuals. Then the drop is great too, offering a brief stomach drop at the start, followed by sustained floater airtime. Prater Tower is one of the world's largest star flyers, standing 384 feet or 117 meters tall, so the views of both the park and city are unmatched. If you want to take in the views at a more leisurely rate, you have a few different Ferris wheels, including that classic historic one. Then you have plenty of spinning rides too. Do not underestimate any of these. For example, I tried the Huss breakdance and it was very well run. The spinning was fast and forceful as I was whipped about the platform. The can't miss spinning ride is Tagada. This ride is banned in America, and I can see why. It's a riot though. You sit in this circle with no restraints as the ride spins around and bounces to music. You can either sit down and hold on for dear life, or you can get up and jump around. I was impressed what others were willing and able to do while the ride rapidly spun. I was afraid of ending up in the hospital if I tried some of those stunts. The park also offers tons of dark rides. They're better than your average carnival dark ride, but they can't rival the best ones out there. I was only able to experience a few of them. My favorite of the bunch was Iceberg, which was a weird interactive shooting dark ride. You ride through the Arctic and you use a camera to shoot at animals. And then you have an interesting selection of infamous pop songs. The hardware is also pretty cool too. It's a multi-level trackless dark ride. The others were reliant on jump scares, but one that stood out to me was Hotel Psycho because of the modern effects and the use of multi-directional sound. Last but not least, let's talk about the water rides. Aqua Gaudi is a weird log flume. You have 3 okay drops, but one of them does feature a speed hill afterwards. Then Wilde Alpenbahn is a spinning rapids ride you typically see more frequently in Europe. The ride started slow, and it didn't spin too much, but the final plunge into the water delivered a little pop of airtime from the abruptness and lack of restraints. And this one can soak you if you enter that pool going backwards. I think that covers most of the rides of interest, but I have little doubt this lineup will continue to expand and change over time. It's the trademark of this place. 2 final things before my final recommendation on the park. 1. The food. I didn't eat much here, I just got a slice of pizza, but in general it seemed like your usual carnival food. 2. Parking. Wiener Prater does not have its own parking lot. Rather, you need to use the nearby parking garages in the city. I stayed at a hotel just a 2-minute walk away that included parking because I knew I'd be at Wiener Prater until close. So do I recommend Wiener Prater? Absolutely. If you're purely into coasters, this may not be a top priority for you. There are tons if you're chasing credits, but the overall quality is just okay. Where this park really shines though is in the flat ride and atmosphere department. If you love crazy flat rides and the energetic atmosphere of a European fun fair, Wiener Prater is a must. Just know it may cost an arm and a leg to experience everything, but I ultimately had a costly blast here. It was just so different than any other theme park I've visited, and I have fond memories of all those crazy flat rides. So those are my thoughts on Wiener Prater. What are your thoughts on Austria's most famous amusement park? Do you think it may be the flat ride capital of the world? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.